think I was 12.
You were 12.
Mm-hmm.
And you moved from downtown? Downtown?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. With the grandmother.
Okay.
McCain Avenue in
McCain
Denora.
Avenue.
Mm-hmm.
I have a picture of that. So you were living...
This is going to be pretty, isn't it?
I love it. It's pretty. I love it.
So you were living with the grandparents down on McCain Avenue.
Mm-hmm.
And then you moved up to Cement City.
Mm-hmm.
And that was approximately when? Was that before?
When I was about 12. Mm-hmm.
That was before the war.
Elevator to bring him up
right?
What more? Civil.
Second World War.
I know. Okay. Go ahead. Well, after my mother and dad died, Jim handled the sale of the house.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And I think he just gave us
$1,000.
something. I don't know.
At that time, it was very hard to get rid of that house, as I remember, to find a buyer.
Because it was a double
Yeah.
and it was cement.
Well, now, if you go online, you will find that those houses have been kept up, and they paint them different colors, like pastel colors.
I heard that.
And last year, Denora, the Historical Society,
Yeah?
they conducted a tour of Cement City.
Did they really?
Yeah, people got in their cars, drove up there, and then they walked around, and they have one house up there that it's just like it was back in the 30s, all right? And you get to go inside, look around, and check it all out.
Oh,
But,
that's something.
yeah, Cement City has been written up in the newspaper and magazines and everything.
Ruthie, what's your dad do for a living?
My dad.
Yep.
What did my dad do for a living?
Yeah.
Oh, he was in personnel. I think we talked about that.
Yeah.
American Steel and Wire.
Right.
And he was in the personnel office, and that's what he did. And before that, he and my mother, no, not my mother. There's Trace. My mother and Dad both went to California. We told you that.
Yeah.
College, yeah. So, what else?
They met there?
Yes, I think so. Mm-hmm. Yep.
And got married, and where did they get married? Do you remember? Was it in Denora?
I wasn't there.
Was it Cole Center?
My grandmother, Reynolds, washed the day that my mother and dad got married.
Really?
Yes, she washed the clothes and things.
Is that
So I don't know where they got married. Nowhere, I think.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the most important question: Did Jim and Ruth treat you?
Did they treat me nice?
Well, yeah, that's important stuff. You were the youngest, and no doubt probably doted over the most, don't you think?
You were the cutest. No, I think they didn't bother with me at all. No, get rid of Nancy. Yeah, no, I don't think. Oh, I remember about Jim.
Yeah.
Well, Jim, he always wanted to pretend that downstairs, we had this old thing that played records. It was really old,
right.
Whatever you call them.
The troll.
Yes, and he used to pretend that this was, playing when it wasn't. Okay. But anyway, no, I don't. We were 5 years apart. I mean, 5, and 5. Ruth was 10 and we were 5. Jim and I. And there wasn't a heck of a lot they could play with me. So anyway, yeah. But my mother thought that was the best planning in the world. 5 years apart.
Back then, that actually was artistic. That nobody could control birth. That was really remarkable on their part.
Yeah. And when I was born, I weighed about 4 pounds, and they kept me at home, and they kept me on hot water bottles.
They didn't put you in the oven, did they?
Well, there was no, what do you call it?
Incubators.
Right. Yeah, hot water bottles.
What year were you born, Nancy?
31.
31.
Mm-hmm.
And how old was your mom when she had you? Do you know?
I don't think I ever thought about it.
Oh, well then.
I suppose she was 40-something.
Oh, she was older.
I think, because I was the last one, and there was 10 years between Ruth and I. So, yeah, she must have been older.
Now, did your mom work when you were a child? Did she teach school?
Substitution.
Okay. Now, that your mom went to California normal school. That was a big deal for a woman to be educated back then. I mean, that's really phenomenal. Your mother was very smart, wasn't she?
Very, very smart. Yes, I mean, math, anything. I mean, trigonometry, you name it, my mother knew it, you know. And if she didn't know it, she figured it out.
Yeah.
She was very smart. Yep.
Now, I wanted to ask you, did you work at the bank
Yes.
in Denora?
Yes.
In Denora, okay.
And then I went to Pittsburgh, worked in the bank.
All right.
Yeah.
Because I remember you came to our house when we lived in Beaver. And you came out on a bus.
Okay.
And I met you.
You sure I didn't come on a train?
No, it was a bus, because I met you at the bus stop in Beaver. I had my little wagon, and I put your suitcase in the wagon, and
I don't remember that.
I do. See?
Can I?
That's cute.
And I said, okay. And away we went with your wagon.
Yeah, that's right. Follow me, I said.
Nancy, where did you get your sense of humor from? Because you've always been so
Funny.
witty.
Well, I'm funny. That's all. I'm just funny. Hey,
Was your mom funny or your dad? Who of them was funny?
nobody was funny.
They weren't funny?
Not
Weren't
so funny.
times.
Not so funny. No, I don't know. I just like to.
Oh, I think Osie was funny.
You do think?
Oh, yeah, when I was with him and we'd go fishing and stuff like that. Just some of the little things he would do and say.
Maybe.
I could be fishing and he'd take the worm on the hook and he was always chewing tobacco and he'd spit on that worm and
Oh, really?
throw that in. That guaranteed you catch a fish. But he wouldn't let me chew and I couldn't spit on the worm, so I didn't catch any.
Oh.
Even though you were already drinking coffee at that time.
That's right, I was still on the coffee.
Yeah, well, enough
And
caffeine.
Grandma, she would take a six-pack and put it in one of those little coolers so we would have something to drink.
6-pack of beer?
Beer.
Really? No, see, I wouldn't expect that of her.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And he would go downstairs with those beer cans and he would paint them and make them into little flower pots.
Oh, gosh.
She was a remarkable gardener. I remember stepping outside the kitchen in Cement City in that house, and there was a huge trellis by the back door, just
yeah.
filled with fragrant roses.
Right.
And I remember that I loved that cool backyard, and it had a couple of steps down into the alley. And I thought, whoa,
It was
this
kind
is
of
like,
terraced down.
yeah.
Yep.
So she and he met at California.
I think. Yes.
Howard, her maiden name was Reynolds, correct?
Yeah, right.
And then her mom was an Osborne. Is that correct?
Uh-huh.
And then
Before that, I don't know.
you don't know anything before that. And were they always from this area, or were they from other far-flung places?
West Virginia, weren't they from West Virginia?
Yes. Yeah, come to think of it.
So I would say along the border of Pennsylvania and West Virginia is where most of the relatives came from.
Oh, Daddy. He was from Morgantown. Yeah, area.
What stories do you remember about Uncle Chad or Uncle Chad or Uncle Cal? Charles. Sorry.
No, about my grandmother that lived up there in Morgantown. She had Lillian and Bud and them. They all, and my sister went to college up there and lived in her place.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and Bud did too. And she had that on Grand Avenue, that house, and it had different floors. It was colonial, and those kids lived in the top floors when they went to college. And what else? I loved that grandmother. She played flinch all the time, she and her neighbors. And she told old stories, and when anything would howl at night, somebody was going to die, and everything was different, let me tell you. But she was great. Kane Avenue in Denora, there was a house there that was actually my grandmother's and grandfather's house, and it was a Depression time, and of course I was born in Depression time. And So anyhow, my dad and mother had to go to live with them, and they mostly inhabited the third floor, and it was a third floor reverted into bedrooms, and then I think that's what he called bed floor. So anyway, but yeah, because that was the Depression, and he was a social worker, and that was hard, I imagine.
Your dad was a social worker then?
In that Depression time.